Welcome to my channel. Today, I have something very special for you, but also a little dangerous for your confidence. I'm going to give you an English challenge that almost every learner fails. In fact, only 1% of English learners get all the answers correct. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you will know every answer. And when you do, you will feel like the smartest English learner in the room. Are you ready to test your English with me? Comment below right now. Do you think you can get 100%? Let's find out. Chapter 1. The 1% Challenge. Imagine this: millions of people around the world are learning English right now. Some are watching videos, some are reading books, some are speaking with friends. But here's the strange thing. If I gave all of them the same test, almost everyone would get some answers wrong. Even people who have studied for years. And do you know how many would get everything correct? Just 1 out of 100. Yes, only 1%. That number is so small it almost feels impossible. But what if I told you, you can be that one person? Would you believe me? I'm telling you now, you can. And today, you're going to take that challenge with me. I know what you're thinking. Why would I fail? I've learned so many words. I know grammar. I can understand some English movies. But here's the truth. English is not about remembering 1,000 rules or memorizing difficult words. It's about seeing the small things that most people miss. It's about hearing one tiny sound in a sentence and knowing exactly what it means. It's about choosing the right word, not just a correct word. And this is why most learners fail, because they don't practice this way. But you, my friend, are different. You're here, listening carefully, ready to learn. That's why I believe you can pass this challenge. Let me warn you, though the challenge is not easy. I will give you questions that look simple, but hide small tricks inside. They will make you think twice. They will make you doubt your first answer. Your brain might even try to translate into your own language. But if you do that, you might fail. The real secret is to think directly in English, to feel the sentence in your mind. Don't just guess, understand why the answer is correct. And if you get one wrong, don't feel bad. Every mistake is like a gold coin in your learning bank. The more mistakes you find and fix, the richer your English will become. Now, here's the best part. With each question, I will teach you something powerful. Something you can use in real life, not just in a classroom. By the end, you won't just know the answers. You'll know why you are now part of the 1%. And believe me, that will feel amazing. It will be a moment you will never forget, the day you prove to yourself that you can be the best in the room. So, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and get ready. The first question is coming, and your journey to the 1% starts right now. Chapter 2. Why most learners fail. Have you ever wondered why so many people study English for years and still cannot speak or understand it well? They know grammar rules. They can memorize lists of words. They even pass school exams, yet, when it comes to real life, they freeze. Their minds go blank. They understand nothing. And the sad part is, they don't even know why. Today, I'm going to tell you the truth about why most learners fail, and more importantly, how you will not be one of them. The first reason is rushing. Many learners want to finish fast. They want to speak perfectly in 3 months. They want to skip the slow, boring parts and jump straight to fluency. But language is not like instant noodles. You cannot just pour in some water and wait 2 minutes. Language grows like a tree. You plant it, you water it, you care for it every day, and slowly, it becomes strong. Most learners don't have the patience, and that's why they stop before the tree even starts growing. The second reason is translation thinking. Every time they hear or read something in English, their brain quickly changes it into their own language. And then, they try to translate their reply back into English. But here's the problem: languages don't match perfectly. The words don't sit in the same place. The ideas don't flow the same way. Translation makes sentences heavy and strange. It's like trying to run while carrying a bag of stones. Most learners fail because they never learn to think directly in English. They always carry that heavy bag. The third reason is fear of mistakes. You've seen it: a learner opens their mouth, starts speaking, and then suddenly stops because they feel they're saying something wrong. They blush, they get embarrassed, they laugh nervously, and then they stay silent. That silence is the biggest killer of English skills. Silence will never make you better speaking well. Even if it's broken, even if it's messy, speaking is how you grow. But most learners never give themselves permission to speak freely. The fourth reason is learning for tests, not for life. Many learners are trained to answer exam questions, to choose A, B, C, or D. But life doesn't give you four options. Life asks you open questions. Life surprises you. Life speaks quickly, sometimes with slang, sometimes with accents. And if you only know textbook English, you will feel lost. That's why so many learners fail outside the classroom. But you're not here to fail. You're here to join the 1%. And knowing why others fail is the first step to making sure you don't. In this video, I'm going to give you the tools to fight these four problems. You're going to slow down and grow strong roots. You're going to throw away the translation back. You're going to speak without fear. And you're going to learn English for real life, not just for tests. So now, I'm going to give you your first real challenge question, and this one will be tricky. Almost everyone answers it without thinking and gets it wrong. But you, my friend, are going to stop, think, and get it right. Are you ready? Let's step into the 1% challenge. Chapter 3, Question 1: simple but tricky. Here it is, your first real challenge. At first glance, it might look easy. You might even smile and think, I know this. But remember what I told you: the reason this test is called the 1% challenge is because questions like this catch almost everyone. The answer hides in the small details, and if you rush, you'll miss it. So, take a deep breath, focus, and listen carefully. Here's your question. Which sentence is correct? A. She has visited London last year. B. She visited London last year. I'll give you a few seconds. Really think about it. Don't just pick what feels right, ask yourself why it's right. Imagine you're explaining it to a friend. Ready? Now here's the truth. The correct answer is B. She visited London last year. And here's why so many learners choose the wrong one. In English, when we use last year, we are talking about a finished time in the past. That means we use the past simple tense visited, not has visited. The phrase has visited is for an experience without a specific time, like she has visited London before, or she has visited London many times. But the moment you add a clear time, last year, yesterday, in 2010, you must use the past simple. This is one of the most common mistakes in English, and it's exactly why people fail this challenge. Do you see how easy it is to fall into the trap? Most learners see as visited and think it sounds more correct because it's longer or more formal. But English is not about sounding fancy, it's about sounding right. And the right sentence is simple and direct. This is why thinking in English is so important. If you translate from your language, you might use the wrong tense because your language may not have the same rules. But if you feel the sentence in English, you'll know which one sounds natural. Now, here's the magic: the moment you understand this, You start to notice it everywhere. In books, in movies, in conversations. You'll see how native speakers use past simple with finished times. Your brain will start to recognize it without thinking. That's how you win, not by memorizing boring grammar charts, but by training your ear and your instinct. So tell me in the comments, did you get it right? Be honest. If you got it wrong, that's actually a win too, because now you've learned something most people never fix. And remember, we've only just started. The next question will be different. It won't test grammar, it will test your mind. It's going to push you to think in English, not just answer in English. And that, my friend, is where the real challenge begins. Chapter 4, Thinking in English. If you got the first question wrong, don't feel bad. You just discovered something powerful, that small details can change everything in English. But here's the bigger secret. The real difference between the 99% and the 1% isn't just knowing grammar rules. It's thinking in English. This one skill will change the way you answer every question, the way you speak, and the way you understand. And the truth is, most learners never master it because they don't even know they're doing the opposite. Think about the last time you tried to speak English. Did you hear the words in your language first, then translate them into English in your head? Did you hear English and quickly change it into your language to understand it? If you did, you're not alone. Almost every learner starts this way. But here's the problem. Every translation is like a little delay. It slows you down, it makes your sentences heavy, and sometimes it changes the meaning completely. You might think you said something correct, but in English, it sounds strange or wrong. Let me give you an example. Imagine I ask you in English, "What did you have for breakfast?" If your brain hears the question, then translates it into your language, then prepares the answer in your language, then translates it back into English. That's 4 steps before you even open your mouth. And in a real conversation, the other person has already moved on. You've missed your chance. But if you think directly in English, the process is just 1 step. You hear it, and you answer. Fast, natural, confident. So, how do you train your brain to think in English? You start small. You replace one thought at a time. When you wake up, instead of saying to yourself in your language, "I need to brush my teeth," you say it in English, "I need to brush my teeth." Instead of looking at a chair and thinking of the word in your language, you think, chair. It feels strange at first, but slowly, your brain gets used to it. And one day, without noticing, you'll realize you just had a full thought in English without translating. That's the moment you become faster, clearer, and part of the 1%. Here's why this matters for our challenge. Every question I give you from now on will be easier if you think in English. You won't be translating the options. You won't be confused by word order. You'll just know. That's what native speakers do. They don't solve English, they feel it. And the more you think in English, the more you'll feel the right answer before you even explain it. Now, I want you to try something with me before we go to the next question. Look around you right now, find one object, any object. Name it in English. Then say one simple sentence about it in English. For example, "This is my cup." Or, "The window is open." Do it right now, out loud if you can. That's the start. That's how you build the habit. Because in the next chapter, I'm going to give you a listening challenge. This one will test if you can hear English and understand it directly, without translating at all. It's one of the biggest skills you need to win the 1% challenge, and most people fail it. But I think you can pass. Are you ready? Chapter 5, Question 2, Listening Carefully. Now we are going to test one of the most important and most ignored skills in English: listening. You might think listening is easy. You just hear the words, right? But the truth is, most learners don't really listen in English. They hear the sound, but their brain is already busy translating, guessing, or worrying about the next sentence. And that's why they miss the small details, the details that can change the whole meaning. In fact, this is the point where most learners fail the challenge, because they're not ready to listen carefully. But you are here, and today you will be different. I'm going to say something in English, and I want you to listen only once. No rewinding, no repeating. Imagine you are talking to a native speaker in real life. They say it once and move on. Your job is to catch the meaning the first time. Ready? Here it is. I've been waiting here for over an hour. That's it. Just one sentence. But inside this short sentence, there's a lot of information. I'll give you a moment to think. What does it mean? How long has the person been waiting? When did they start? Are they still waiting? These are not extra questions, they are the meaning hiding inside the words. The correct understanding is this: the person started waiting more than an hour ago, and they are still waiting right now. How do we know? The phrase "I've been waiting" is the present perfect continuous tense. It tells us the action started in the past and is still happening now. And for over an hour tells us the time period. Most learners miss this because they focus only on the word waiting and forget to hear the rest. Where they hear "I've been," but don't really feel what it means. This is why listening carefully is not just hearing the words, it's hearing the story inside the sentence. Every sentence in English carries more than one piece of information. If you train your ears to catch all of it, you will understand faster, answer more correctly, and join that 1% who truly get it. Here's a tip that will change your listening forever. When you hear English, don't just hear the words, imagine the scene. If I say, "I've been waiting here for over an hour," picture a person standing at a bus stop, checking their watch, maybe feeling tired. This picture helps your brain lock in the meaning instantly. Native speakers do this automatically. And you can too, if you make it a habit. Now, before we move on, I want you to try. I'll give you a new sentence. She's lived in Paris since 2015. Close your eyes and imagine it. Can you see her? Can you see the Eiffel Tower? Can you feel that she moved there in 2015 and is still there now? If you can, you just did what most learners cannot. You understood English without translating. That is real listening. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about the silent killers of English, understanding the small words that look harmless but cause the most mistakes. If you can master them, your chances of joining the 1% will double. Most people ignore them, but I'm going to make sure you never will. Chapter 6: Small Words, Big Trouble. Now we come to one of the most dangerous parts of the English language. No, it's not long, complicated words like internationalization or misunderstanding. Those are easy to avoid if you don't know them. You can just skip them or use a simpler word. The real danger comes from the short, innocent-looking words that you think you know, but that quietly make you wrong. Words like in, on, at, to, for, and of. They look harmless. They're only 2 or 3 letters long, but they can completely change the meaning of your sentence, and most learners don't even realize they're making a mistake. I call these silent traps because they don't make loud mistakes. If you say, "I'm in the bus," instead of "I'm on the bus," people will still understand you. They won't stop you, but inside their mind, they know you're not speaking like a native. And when you make too many of these small mistakes, people start to think your English is not as strong as it could be. These words are like little cracks in a wall. They don't destroy the wall immediately, but they make it weaker over time. Here's the tricky part. In your language, these small words may work differently. That's why translation doesn't help here. In some languages, you say in the bus. In others, you say at the bus. But in English, we say on the bus. There's no big logic, no giant grammar rule that explains all of them. The secret is in hearing them, feeling them, and remembering them in real-life sentences. You can't just learn them from a list, you have to see them alive inside a conversation. Let's try something. Imagine your friend says, "Meet me at the station." Why at and not in? Because at is for a location point, a place where something happens. But if your friend says, "I'm in the station," that means they are inside the building. And if they say, "I'm on the station," well, that would mean they're standing on the roof. You see? One small word, and suddenly your friend's location has changed completely. This is why these tiny words are not tiny at all. They control the meaning like a steering wheel controls a car. Here's the good news: once you start paying attention to these words, you'll see them everywhere. In songs, in movies, in books, in daily speech. And the more you notice them, the more your brain will remember the correct ones. That's how you slowly replace in the bus with on the bus without even thinking about it. And when you do, you'll sound more natural, more correct, and more confident. In our next challenge question, I'm going to test you on exactly this. You'll see how one wrong small word can make a sentence sound strange, and you'll learn how to choose the right one every time. This is where many learners fall. But if you get it right, you'll take one more step toward joining the 1%. So stay sharp, because the next question is coming right now. Chapter 7, Question 3, Preposition Power. Now it's time to see if you can beat one of the biggest traps in English prepositions. These small words can look so harmless, but they're like secret doors. Choose the right one, and the sentence opens perfectly. Choose the wrong one, and it still kind of works, but not really. This is where most learners fail without even realizing it. But you're here to pass. And to pass, you have to listen carefully, think clearly, and trust your English instinct. Here's your question. Which sentence is correct? A. I'm interested on learning English. B. I'm interested in learning English. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Don't just guess, say both sentences in your head. Feel which one flows more naturally. Imagine a native speaker saying it. Which one sounds right? The correct answer is B. I'm interested in learning English. And here's why this is such a common mistake. The preposition that follows interested in English is always in, not on. In your language, it might be different. And that's the problem. Learners translate from their language, and the wrong preposition sneaks in. This is why thinking in English, not translating, is so important. But this isn't just about one example. This is about building your memory so that the right preposition comes automatically. Think about it. If you have to stop and remember, every time you use interested, you will never sound fluent. You need to hear interested in so many times, in so many real situations, that it becomes a habit. That's how native speakers do it. They don't memorize a rule. They just know it from hearing it again and again. Here's a trick. When you learn a new word, never learn it alone. Learn it with its partner. Don't learn just interested, learn interested in. Don't learn just good, learn good at. Don't learn just afraid, learn afraid of. This way, when you speak, the preposition is already attached to the word in your mind, like a shadow that never leaves. Now imagine the power of getting these right every time. Your sentences won't just be correct, they'll sound smooth, natural, and confident. People will listen to you and think, wow, their English is really good, even if you're using simple words. That's the magic of mastering prepositions, small words with a big impact. The next time you hear someone speak English, listen carefully for these little partners. Repeat them in your head, and soon they will become your partners too. Because in the next chapter, I'm going to give you something even more powerful. A trick for your brain that will help you remember correct English forever. This is the memory secret that will make you unstoppable in the 1% challenge. Chapter 8. Your brain's best trick. Up until now, you've been answering questions and learning rules. But what if I told you there's a way to make all of this stick in your brain without endless study? A way to remember the correct answers so well that, even years from now, they will come out of your mouth without you thinking? This is not about magic, and it's not about being born with a language talent. It's about using your brain the way it was designed to work. And I'm going to teach you this trick right now. Your brain remembers stories, not rules. That's why you can remember a funny scene from a movie you watched 10 years ago, but you can't remember a grammar rule you read last week. The brain is like a library. Rules are like books with no pictures, hard to remember and easy to forget. Stories are like colorful picture books. Your brain opens them automatically. So here's the secret. Attach a story, an image, or a feeling to every piece of English you learn. Let's go back to the preposition example. I'm interested in learning English. If you try to remember it as just a rule, interested plus in, it will disappear from your memory in a few days. But if you create a picture in your mind, maybe you see yourself holding a giant open book with the words English glowing inside, and you are leaning forward into it, showing you are interested in, your brain will keep that picture. And the next time you want to use the phrase, the picture will appear and the words will come with it. This works for every part of English: tenses, vocabulary, pronunciation. If you make your learning emotional and visual, you are giving your brain what it loves. Another example, you learn on the bus. Instead of repeating it 50 times in your notebook, imagine sitting on top of a giant red bus in London, feeling the wind in your hair. Now your brain doesn't just know on the bus, it feels it. And feelings are unforgettable. You can also use the memory hook method. This means you connect new English to something you already know. For example, if you learn, she's lived in Paris since 2015, connect it to someone you know who moved to a new city. Picture their life there. This hook ties the new English to an existing memory, making it stronger. The brain doesn't like isolated information, it loves connections. Here's the most powerful part. You can start using this trick right now. After this video, take just 3 sentences from what you've learned today. For each one, close your eyes, make a clear mental picture, and give it a small story. Do this, and you will remember them for months, maybe years, without even trying. That's how the 1% train, not just by studying harder, but by studying smarter. In the next chapter, I'm going to put this to the test. You'll get another challenge question, but this one will feel different because now you'll be using your brain's best trick as you answer. And you might be surprised at how much faster and more confident you feel. This is where all the pieces start to come together. Chapter 9. Question 4: Grammar in Real Life. We've practiced grammar before, but this time, we're not going to look at it like a classroom exercise. We're going to step into the real world, where grammar is not a list of rules. but a tool you use without thinking. Because in real life, no one stops you in the middle of a conversation and says, "Please choose A, B, C, or D." Life doesn't give you options. It gives you situations. And you have to respond on the spot. That's why most learners get stuck. They only know how to do grammar on paper, not in life. But today, you're going to change that. Here's your challenge. Imagine you're talking to a friend. They ask, "Have you eaten yet?" Now, you want to answer. Which one sounds correct? A. Yes, I ate already. B. Yes, I have eaten already. Take a moment. Imagine you are really in that conversation. Feel the flow of the question, then feel your answer. Which one fits better? The truth is, both can be correct, but the choice depends on where you are. In American English, people often use the past simple, "I ate already." In British English, it's more common to say, "I have eaten already." This is where real-life grammar is different from textbook grammar. A book might tell you one answer, but the real world is more flexible. And if you want to be in the 1%, you need to know how to live in that flexibility. This is why context matters. Grammar is not just about right or wrong. It's about choosing what works best for the situation you're in. If you're talking to an American friend, "I ate already" will sound completely natural. If you're in London, "I have eaten already" will sound more like a native speaker. The rule is the same. The present perfect connects the past to the present, but usage changes depending on the environment. And the 1% learners know how to adapt without hesitation. Here's the mistake most learners make. They memorize one version, and when they hear a different one, they panic and think it's wrong. But it's not wrong, it's just another way of speaking. This is why I always say, don't just study grammar from one book or one teacher. Expose yourself to real conversations, movies, and different accents. Your brain will learn to switch gears and choose the right style for the moment. Now, I want you to picture this. You're in a cafe, a waiter asks, "Have you eaten yet?" You answer naturally, without thinking, in the style that fits the person you're talking to. That's when you know you're no longer a textbook learner, you're a real English speaker. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about something even more important than grammar: your confidence. Because even if you know every answer, if you don't believe in yourself, you'll hesitate, and hesitation will make you lose. But if you can control your confidence, you'll win this challenge before the last question even comes. Chapter 10: Confidence versus Guessing. We are getting close to the end of the 1% challenge. By now, you've answered tricky grammar questions, spotted small word traps, and learned secrets for remembering English forever. But there's something even more powerful than all of that: your confidence. Because here's the truth. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't believe in yourself, you will lose to someone who has less knowledge but more courage. Confidence decides how you answer, how fast you react, and how other people hear you. Think about it. Have you ever known the right answer but stayed silent because you were scared of being wrong? Or maybe you said it, but your voice was quiet and unsure, so the other person didn't really trust it? That's what happens when confidence is missing. And in English learning, hesitation can be your biggest enemy. Not because it makes you slow, but because it tells your brain, "I can't do this," even when you actually can. Now let's talk about guessing. Guessing can be dangerous if it comes from fear, when you're too scared to think, so you just throw out an answer and hope it's right. But guessing can also be smart if it's based on clues. That's called an educated guess. Native speakers do this all the time. They don't know every fact, but they listen for hints, watch for body language, and use what they already know to make the best choice. That's the kind of guessing I want you to do. Here's a secret. When you speak with confidence, even your guesses can sound correct. People will believe you, and more importantly, you will believe you. Confidence is not about knowing everything, it's about trusting yourself to figure it out in the moment. And the more you practice speaking without fear, the more natural it becomes. So how do you build this confidence? You do it by speaking every day, even if it's just to yourself. You celebrate small wins, like getting one tricky question right or remembering a phrase you learned last week. And you stop punishing yourself for mistakes because every mistake you make is a step closer to the 1%. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from not letting imperfection stop you. I want you to imagine this. You're about to answer the hardest question of this challenge, the one that decides if you join the 1% club. Your heart is racing, your hands might be a little sweaty, but you take a breath, you smile, and you answer like you own the room. That's the energy I want you to have for the next chapter. Because this next question is the real test, the one most people get wrong, and the one you're going to get right. Chapter 11. Question 5. The 1% moment. This is it. The question that decides everything. The one that will show whether you are just another learner or part of the 1%. Every question before this was practice, training, and preparation for this moment. Now it's time to see what you can really do. I want you to lean in, focus like never before, and block out every distraction. Imagine this is not just a video. Imagine you are sitting across from me, face to face, and I'm looking straight into your eyes, asking you this final question. Here it is. Which sentence is correct? A. If I will see her, I will tell her. B. If I see her, I will tell her. Don't answer too quickly. I know both look similar, and your brain might want to rush because you think you already know. But remember, rushing is how most people fail. Take a breath. Repeat each sentence slowly in your head. Picture the situation. Which one sounds natural? Which one would a native speaker say? The correct answer is B. If I see her, I will tell her. And here's why this question is the 1% moment. In English, we don't use will in both parts of a first conditional sentence. The first part, if I see her, is in the present simple tense even though it's talking about the future. This is something that confuses almost every learner because in many other languages, the future form is used twice. But in English, the rule is simple: present tense after if, future tense in the main clause. Most learners get this wrong not because they've never heard the rule, but because in real conversation, they forget it. They panic, they translate from their own language. And if I will see her slips out. This is exactly what separates the 1% from the 99%: the ability to stay calm. Remember the rule, and say it naturally without hesitation. I want you to imagine this in real life. You're walking down the street, you see your friend's sister, and later, your friend asks, "Did you tell her about the party?" You answer, "If I see her, I'll tell her." You don't even think about the grammar, it just comes out right. That's what it means to own your English. Getting this question right is more than just a win for today. It's proof that you can control your English under pressure. It's proof that you can slow down, think in English, and choose the correct sentence, even when it's tricky. That is the skill that will make you a fluent, confident speaker. And now, there's only one thing left: your final breakthrough. Because in the next chapter, I'm going to show you how to take everything you've learned in this challenge and turn it into a daily habit. That way, this is not just the end of a video, it's the beginning of your new English life. Chapter 12, Your English Breakthrough. You made it. You've reached the end of the 1% challenge. Think about that for a moment. You started this video not knowing if you could answer all the questions. And now here you are, having faced every test, learned every lesson, and stood your ground until the very end. That alone already puts you ahead of millions of learners who quit halfway. Most people don't finish challenges like this. But you did. And that's the first sign you have what it takes to be in the 1%. But here's the truth: your real victory is not just getting the questions right. Your real victory is the skills you've built along the way. You've learned how to slow down and think before answering. You've discovered why thinking in English is more powerful than translating. You've learned to listen for details, to respect small words, to connect grammar to real life, and to trust yourself when it matters most. These skills are not just for a quiz, they are for every conversation, every interview, every moment you speak English from today forward. Now, I want you to understand something important. You are not finished learning. No one is. Even native speakers learn new words and expressions every day. But what you have now is momentum, the feeling that you are moving forward faster and stronger than before. If you keep going from here, you will improve more in the next 6 months than you have in the last 6 years. That's the power of focused practice. That's the power of refusing to be like the 99%. So here's your next step. Make challenges like this part of your daily routine. Test yourself with small questions. Listen to one sentence and repeat it until it feels natural. Pick one small word and use it in 5 different sentences. Correct your mistakes, but don't let them stop you. And most importantly, speak every single day, even if it's just to yourself. This is how you turn today's breakthrough into tomorrow's fluency. I believe in you, and I know you can do it because you've already proved it today. You've stayed, you've learned, and you've won. And now, I want you to take that same energy and carry it into the rest of your English journey. Imagine the day, not too far from now, when you speak with complete confidence, when people listen to you and think, wow, your English is amazing. That day starts here. That day starts now. Before you go, I want you to do 3 things. 1. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss a challenge like this again. 2. Like this video if you learned something new today. 3. Comment your score below, tell me how many you got right, and whether you are now part of the 1% club. You've already taken the hardest step. You started. Now keep going, and I promise, one day you will look back and realize this was the moment your English truly changed forever. If you enjoyed this challenge and learned something new, don't stop here. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, so you can keep growing your English every single day. Like this video if you want more fun challenges, and comment your score below. I want to see how many of you join the 1% club. Remember, every day you practice, you are closer to perfect English.